Okay, good evening, everyone. I would like to make a motion to reconvene to open session at 7 p.m. Can we get a second, please? Second by Member Marston. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Welcome back and welcome to our session, part of our board meeting this evening. I would like to announce that tonight's meeting is being digitally recorded by our intrepid high school volunteers. Thank you. Next we have our Pledge of Allegiance, led by Member Goldberg.
I stand and face the flag. Put the hand over the heart and begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's see. Now, there were no actions taken in closed session this evening. Next on our agenda is our special presentation. And this is in regards to Temple City High School's English Language Development Mentoring Program, led by my good friend and amazing coordinator, Mrs. Teresa Wong. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Temple City Unified School District board members, happy Perini. Sorry, I don't know everybody else's name. And audience members, thank you so much for inviting us here tonight to speak and share about the Temple City High School ELD Peer Mentoring Program. As you can see, I brought 3 students with me. They will all get a chance to share with you. First of all, I just want to share a little bit of background about our program. I have a PowerPoint presentation along with some pictures. The goal of our program is to support, encourage, and empower new immigrant youth in Temple City High School to make positive life choices that enable them to maximize their personal potential. This program was started 2 years ago in 2014, and at that time we provided monthly mentor training to students who were ELD 3 or sheltered English level and higher. This year we are in our 2nd year of providing services, which I'll share with you now. This year we started something called ELD 1 support groups. These are groups that meet for 10 weeks with just the ELD 1 students on Tuesdays and Thursdays during their ELD 1 class time. During these support group times, we discuss many topics such as their family of origin, the acculturation process, manners and etiquette. We've spent quite a bit of time on that. School life, city life, and community life. For these last 3 items, we actually were able to visit here at the Temple City Unified School District office, across the street at City Hall and Mayor Chavez. And for community life, we actually had 2 sheriff officers come to the high school and speak personally with the students. And on the right, you see some pictures. We also continued our peer mentor trainings. We continued the monthly trainings, but this year we started something new. We have an after-school My Own Story workshop and performance. And what this is it gives some of our mentors a chance to explore what their experience as an ELD 1 student has been up until now, and then to write part of that story and perform it. So we will give you some dates for those performances that will occur next month. We hope you'll join us. These are some pictures of the students exploring freedom of expression as well as writing their stories. Something new we added this year is a monthly holiday lunch. At these lunches, mentors gain experience in public speaking. They are assigned every month. 2 mentors teach lessons about American holidays. And then mentees learn about American culture and interact with mentors. Everyone experiences a traditional holiday meal and various activities. On the left, you see a Thanksgiving feast, which for most of the students was their first time. And on the right, you see a white elephant gift exchange. Here are some pictures of our school and community tours. On top, you see the TCUSD visit. On the bottom, you see Mayor Tom Chavez. Mentors gained leadership skills by facilitating tour groups and translating for mentees. and mentees learned about school and civic life. They loved pounding the gavel. That was fun. Something new that the students have really enjoyed are friendship outings. So far we've had one this year. We took the students during winter break hiking at Chantry Flats, and they played some group games that they've never played before. Coming up spring break, we're going to go bowling. Most of them have never gone bowling. And before school ends, in June, we're going to go kayaking with a nonprofit organization called Kayaks for Kids down at Marina Del Rey. Now I'd like to introduce you to one of our ELD 1 students named Ethan Song.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ethan. I am 16 years old. I am 10th grade. I come from China. I came from China 4 months ago. When I talk with Miss Huang, I think she's very friendly. She always teach us some important things about the USA, like city and who is the city boss and culture. When Thanksgiving, Miss Huang told us some things like in their holiday, most people eat turkey, and told us the origin of Thanksgiving. My favorite thing is Miss Huang always give us food, like cookie and candy. It's very good. I really like sweet food. I learn more English words from Miss Huang. She teaches us do not eat drug, and let us try to use English, read some books. I really thank my mentor. She told me more things. In school, there are many things I don't really understand. He always told me and teach me how to do. His name is Dixon. I am thankful for him. Thank you.
Our next ELD 1 student who'd like to share with you is Queena Liu.
Hi, I'm sophomore. I'm 17 years old. I came from China 6 months ago. I think that we are really happy because we are a big family. Miss Huang and my mentor are very nice. Let me feel warm in this strange city. They are telling me many things about America and our school. In the group, I learned many American culture. Miss Huang helped us to correct the direction of working and led us to the target. My favorite thing is Miss Huang's cookie. It's really delicious. I enjoy the time when we went to climb the mountain. It's so fun. That was the happiest day of my vacation. I'm looking forward to the next time and really thankful to them. I'm so happy with them. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce one of our mentors. His name is Tim Wong. He'll be reading not only about his own personal experience, but he'll also be reading a short description written by our ELD 1 teacher, who couldn't be here tonight.
Hi, my name is Tim Long, and I'm 17 years old, and I'm a senior in Temple City High School. I came from Vietnam 4 years ago, and this is my second year as a mentor. This year I have 2 mentees. One of my mentee came from Vietnam 2 months ago. I feel happy to help my mentees because I have a chance to improve myself. I can also help them translating English and help them with other problems related to English. The mentor training taught me that mentees are shy to ask help from mentors, so I need to be the one who asks them first. I also learned about internet safety, so I could tell mentees to be aware of stranger online. Every night for holiday lunch, I enjoy getting out together with my other mentors and mentees, having a great time together. Last month, we learned about Martin Luther King Jr.'s, and we ate fried chicken. The My Own Story workshop is getting more familiar to me. I wrote about my past memories together with my family. Yesterday, we wrote about our personal experience with racism or discrimination. I hope to share my personal EOD experience with the school staff and community. And this is the note from EOD 1 teacher. The EOD mentor program has helped the EOD 1 student acclimate to the Temple City High School campus and the United States overall. I have seen the student grow immensely in their interpersonal skill with each other and their mentors, which has helped them strengthen their skill in English language. The program has created such a supportive and safe learning environment for the student as they try new American experiences and cultural activities such as monthly lunches in which the EOD mentor teach the EOD 1 student about the American holiday in each month as they enjoy a special meal. For example, the EOD students were able to experience the turkey feast with mashed potato and pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving in November. It was amazing to see this student try a Thanksgiving meal for the first time, especially a new student who had just arrived in my class the week before. Teresa Huang provided such a warm and inviting welcome to my EOD 1 students who feel nervous and overwhelmed as they have to adjust to a new home. It is so exciting to see EOD 1 students' personality burst through as they become more confident.
And those highly esteemed cookies that you heard about are actually snickerdoodles, and I made a few bags for the board members and Captain Korean tonight. So
I was going to ask you about that. That was my only disappointment in the presentation.
I was really surprised to see them write about it, so I thought, oh, I got to bring some tonight. So the students are going to help me pass them out to the board members and to Kathy. We also have one for Mary Jo.
All right. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Wow. You know what, I want to thank the work that you've done to help our students out. But Ms. Newman, I think we understand what the key here is, right? It's the sweets, and it has to be from her. So, okay, so gotta write that down in our notes. I know, but honestly, and I'm speaking on to all of you for our new students. Welcome to Temple City. Welcome to Temple City. We're very, very glad to have you here. I know that this may seem still a strange place to you at the moment. I can empathize because I was an immigrant myself at one point. This is how I turned out. No, so you have hope. No, I'm just kidding. You know, we are very blessed to have such a great community who supports every member, not just of our faculty, but of the families and the students themselves. I can tell you that during my time here as a student, as a high school student, that I don't believe we had a program even similar to this. And so everything that you've mentioned this evening resonates deeply with me because I know how difficult and challenging it is to try and understand and adapt to a brand new culture, one that you may only have seen through the lens of a camera, through movies or television shows. So I think you guys understand that it is a little bit different because my first impression when I moved to the United States was it was like Greece, but it wasn't. So, but you guys have a great group of people that are supporting you. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing more of your work down the road.
I'm so sorry, I forgot to mention that we have several students visiting to support their classmates tonight. So I just want to thank them for coming.
All right. Thank you very much. Anybody here? All right.
All right. I guess first I'll ask you, did you mean you thought it was like the country Grease or the movie Grease?
You're right, I did not clarify that. I thought it was the movie Grease, and I was busy looking for leather jackets. Yeah,
Wait, don't leave yet.
Don't leave it.
Hold on. Hold on. I just wanted to add what President Bell said, welcome. We're the school board. We oversee the school district. That means we're your school board, and we appreciate seeing you tonight. I look forward to going to your event next month and hearing more. It's amazing to see, how far a student can come in just a couple of years. And thank you for lending a hand to your friends. So welcome to Temple City, and keep us posted. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Okay. Do we have, Ms. Wolfert, do we have any public comment on the agenda items and non-agenda items? No, we do not? Okay. All right, now let's move on to update on district issues. First up is business services. Ms. Sorrell.
Good evening. Two quick things. One is we have prepared an RFP for audit firms. They're due back at the end of the month. So in our meeting in March, I'll be bringing back a proposal to you for an audit firm for next year. The second is a quick update on the high school. All of the arsenic has been removed from that small dirt area that we've discussed before. No additional soil samples are required. We're waiting for the TCUSD to give back their formal final report, which will be about February 22nd. It's just the 30-day public review that's happening right now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. All right, that's good news. Okay, moving on to educational services. Dr.
Yes,
Kathy.
thank you. Just a few announcements in keeping with the theme of team building and affirmation. It was really interesting today as I was driving through town that I saw London kindergarten students walking to the post office to deliver their Valentines. And so the teachers thought that would be a field trip, a real world experience for them. In addition, over at Oak Avenue, I got to see the beginning of the balloon stomping activity, building team spirit for the adventure team. And so I know Ms. Murray was out there, so it was really interesting to hear that they do this annually with their silent reading students. And last but not least, I'd like you to keep in mind that this is the year of WASP. And so April 18th and 19th at our Dr. Doug Sears Learning Center, WASP panel will be coming to visit for a 3-year review. And likewise, the following week, April 25th and 26th, our alternative school, which is the 8th school in our district, will also have a WASP visit 6-year review. I'd like to acknowledge Shannon Finley and Chris Sewell for their leadership and their work in writing the self-study. Each school had to submit a separate document. Good luck to them. Thank you.
All right, excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, next is personal services. Mr. Kuhn.
Nothing tonight.
Nothing tonight. All right, okay. All right, moving on. Let's head on over to bargaining unit comments. Temple City Education Association, Ms. Point. Good evening. All right. And CSEA 105, Ms. Penn. Okay, and CSEA 823, Mr. Niles. No, Mr. Niles. Okay, all right. It doesn't seem like our student board member is here this evening, so let's move on to board member comments. Why don't we start off with Member Pomeroy?
Okay, thank you. Let's see, that was a very nice presentation. I wanted to just say a couple of things. I noticed that now on our website, there are short biographies for each board member. Previously, we had biographies for some of us, but not all of us, and so thanks to my colleagues for putting up some information about yourselves, and of course, thanks to Ms. Burkhart and our staff for facilitating that. Certainly good that the public can see a little bit more about who we are. Maybe photographs will come.
Oh.
Let's see, I guess this is when I talk about what events I've attended. I attended the Camellia Festival Coronation Friday night. That was a fun event. It was fun to see the Brighter Side Singers and also a scene from the musical Music Man, and a great turnout from Temple City folks, from school folks, and of course many of our students there in the current court and in past courts. It appears that we're getting towards the end of the soccer and basketball seasons, and we've got some teams at the high school contending for playoff spots. I encourage everyone to get out and support those teams. I had a chance today to see some of the varsity boys soccer I saw junior varsity girls soccer earlier in the week. It's always good. There's more of a crowd, so I encourage everyone to go out to that and pay attention when there are playoff games. And I challenge my colleagues to come with me. Let's do a playoff game together. I guess we can't have more than 2 of us in a car. We're not going to talk about anything, but do we have to suit up? Do we have to suit up? Anywho, we look forward to supporting those teams. We had a governance workshop for which well, I guess the minutes will be, well, we're approving them tonight. So for those that weren't able to attend, that was last Wednesday. So this would be the 3rd Wednesday in a row we've had a school board meeting, which is a highlight for us to get together every Wednesday. But anyway, the governance workshop is very helpful, so I want to thank Superintendent Perini and President Bell for setting that up. And I want to give a special thanks from that meeting and every meeting, including tonight, to our senior administrators, our assistant superintendents, and of course, Ms. Burkhardt. You know, these folks come to our meetings. We sometimes have long board meetings. They sit very patiently through them, sometimes working, taking notes, even as we're talking right now. Apparently someone's taking notes as I'm talking. But I certainly appreciate, you know, the burden not only on them and also on staff members that come and present to us and stay late into the evening when we have to open for business bright and early tomorrow morning and things happen that people have to be responsible for. So I just want to thank all of you for coming and doing business on the hours after our work when we can actually be here. And that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Member Noldberg.
Just a couple things. This month, the Temple City School Foundation is soliciting people for donations under a Valentine's theme, Be a Sweetheart, requesting that people donate money for the school foundation. Also, the school foundation helped support, one of the things they helped support was the comedy sports, which I attended. And the comedy sports was at the high school. There's a couple, about 3 or 4 more meetings. The last one, I think it was in May. The teachers will participate, the students. Probably if you're going to attend one of them, that's the one to attend. Because of the school foundation, it is free. They covered the cost that the comedy sports had so that people can get in for free at room 601. A couple other quick ones. It's nice to see the high school and other school systems donate their facilities for the Neighborhood Watch, which is coming up, Area 2 and at high school on the 18th. And also wish to re-thank everybody for the Lunar New Year, which was 8th of February, which is already passed. And I also went to the Canadian court, the coronation. Once again, seeing our students, most of our students dominated that, and also the brighter side that doing the show there. I also, the governor's workshop I thought was very good, and the handbook that they provided us with is something that I think we can use on almost all the meetings. Also, is at the Rosa, when we have the STEAM night, and to see all.
Congratulations to Oaks Orchestra and their band and auxiliary for their performances last week at Disneyland. I heard that they just knocked it out of the park there, literally. And I just want to give a shout out to everyone that's on the high school Yosemite trip. Hope they've had a great trip and they make it home safely. So, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Member Morrison. Okay, now I know where Bailey is. Okay, that's right, she did remind us that she was going on that trip, so she's absolutely excused. Okay, first of all, I want to say hi to our 2 Boy Scouts back there. I know you guys are taking notes, so we will honestly be on our best behavior this evening. They're doing this for, I actually can't recall, I apologize, I've never gone, but you guys know what it is. Okay, so yes, again, just echoing comments from my fellow board members, I think having an annual board governance workshop is extremely helpful for us. It allows us to self-reflect and take a look back at things that we've been able to accomplish throughout the entire school year. And of course, thinking about forward as well, and understanding how we can further sort of improve, not improve, but refine the way we work together in support of the district as a whole. Camellia Festival coronation, I believe there were 4 of us there that evening, and goes without saying that it's something that I personally look forward to every year. And what's the most fascinating to me, caught my attention really, is the fact that even at such a young age, 7 to 8-year-olds, they have some notion in their mind as far as what it is that they're interested in, what they hope to do someday. And heard a few that were interested in becoming scientists, and that kind of really warmed my heart personally. Yeah, I'm old. So leading up to La Rosa and their STEAM event, I would like to acknowledge Ms. DiMoreno and the entire staff at La Rosa Elementary for putting so much effort and putting on this event. I honestly was a little bit blown away by the sheer amount of people who attended that, and I think everybody came away with something really positive out of that. I want to congratulate Science Olympiad teams, both Division B, Division A, and their invitationals. I think it was a lot of fun. Had a lot of progress made there. And we look forward to the event 3 weeks from now, which unfortunately coincides with the same day as the Camellia Festival parade. Yes, and again, and finally, I just want to say that I truly appreciate working with such a great group of people and my fellow board members. We, on our own, do our best effort to try and be there for all these different events, in different areas and different aspects for the students of our district. And I think that's such an important, vital thing, that we're out there as a group, really understanding and learning from our kids as much as we're hoping to provide some good guidance for them. So, and that's it. Thank you very much. Doreen?
Thank you, Mr. Bell. First of all, I wanted to share with you some of our students participated under Kevin's great direction and the wonderful staff with the extended learning program in the Toyota Dream Car Art Contest, and so I brought a few pictures of the cars that they designed. We haven't heard yet if any of their designs won, but I think you'll find them very intriguing and interesting. It works perfectly in what we're attempting to do in extended learning, in that it's under the auspices of collaborate, innovate, and educate. And so we're pleased with some of the designs, and I look forward to buzzing around in one of those turbo cars that some of the kids designed. Also, I had the opportunity at the Superintendent's Symposium to also go to the USC Rosaire Award ceremony, where Lawton Bray was recognized as a second-year doctoral student and received a scholarship. And so I brought back the program to share with you, and it was a wonderful evening, and Lawton did a great job in speaking about his opportunities that he's had. And then lastly, before I sell my cookies for $5 a piece, I wanted to congratulate Kate, who has received the AXA Administrator of the Year for Region 15 in the category of Curriculum and Instruction, and she'll be recognized at Castaways on April 27th. So congratulations, Kate. That concludes my comments, Mr. Bell, other than the cookie sale.
Okay. Well, make sure that everyone stops by after we're done with our yes, absolutely. Okay, do we have any written communications this evening? Does not look like we do. Okay. All right, so now we're going to move on to our discussion, information item portion of our board meeting, items that the board would like to discuss or information presented to the board. These items do not require board action, And if I may, I would like to make a motion to move item 21 in front of the agenda. Can I get a second? Okay, second by member Nolberg. All in favor? All right. Okay. Let's start with. Let's see. All right. I'll make a motion to approve opening a public hearing to allow the public an opportunity to comment on the Temple City High School preliminary environmental assessment report. Can I get a second? Second by member Marson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Here, just a basic rundown of what had happened. This is actually the preliminary environmental assessment report. It's mostly comprised of just data that has been collected and that has been sampled and that has been returned to the state. There's not a lot of direction in here because the only thing to do is remove the soil. So there wasn't a lot of back and forth. So DTSC requires that the community get a chance to comment on what has happened. Community members were also sent out letters with just a brief summary of what has happened also. So they just have this, they have 30 days to comment. After the 30 days is up, DTSC can approve the site.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's very helpful. Well, I just want to remind our public out there that this is exactly what it is, and it's a public hearing. So if anybody has any comments or questions regarding this, and for those of you that haven't attended this particular subject before, this is really just comes down to how we've finally been able to resolve the little soil issue that we had at the high school, so we can go ahead and move forward and hopefully in due time go on with our construction. Is that correct?
That's correct. We are right now just working around that one area.
Okay, okay. All right, perfect. Members, any questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Absolutely. Member Poplar.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. So the preliminary environmental assessment report, which is a very fascinating document, and it's available, it has a lot of science in it. Maybe that'll motivate some of our students to go into soil testing for building construction, I don't know. I looked through some of the documents, so material was removed and then tested again at certain sites, and if you haven't had a chance, I certainly recommend taking a look at the assessment report. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, and I just realized I may have committed a little error. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Rodriguez. Appreciate it. Okay, all right, perfect. Okay, and I just want to share that I skipped ahead a little bit earlier than I anticipated, so I apologize for that. I really wanted to wait for the discussion action agenda portion before moving him up and not intentionally bypassing the discussion and information item portion of our board meeting. But I would like for us to go, I'd like to make a motion for us to go back to order or to the regular order of our agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, okay, that's two, okay. All right, I apologize, okay, I forgot about that back into that, okay. Seeing that we don't have any other comments or discussion, can I get a motion to close the public hearing on the Temple City High School preliminary environmental assessment report?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion by member Pomeroy, second by member Nolenberg, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Oh, okay. Okay, now we're going to go into discussion information items that the board would like to discuss or information presented to the board. These items do not require board action. We have an update on student discipline laws and review of student discipline policies by Mr. Paul Mariani.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you this evening. I realize now that I should have brought cookies, I won't make the student and removing the student from school. And the zero tolerance policies really handcuff the ability of administrators to find alternatives to suspension and expulsion. And some of those zero tolerance policies revolve around bringing weapons to school, or bringing drugs to school, or making threats at school. And that might seem very black and white. A student brings a knife to school, that should be a suspension and expulsion. But there are some gray areas where, I know that we have a Boy Scout with us today. The Boy Scouts could be doing some woodworking or on a backpacking trip, and the child leaves the pocket knife in the backpack and shows up to school. There's no intent to do any harm. It was an honest mistake. I've had this occur. We had an agricultural academy in my school, and our kids worked on the farm. They would go to the farm in the morning, they would come to school in the afternoon. And I had situations as a principal where they would accidentally bring a knife to school, and I had to expel them, interfering with that child's abilities to succeed, to learn, and the Chick-fil-A increases. And so, when the data began collecting on zero tolerance policies, we realized that we were suspending and expelling in California a whole lot of kids in the 90s and into the 2000s. The number of suspensions and expulsions continued to increase and increase and increase. So much so that at one point we were actually, for a given year, suspending more students than we were graduating in California. And so we began really digging into the data on suspensions and expulsions, and the Office of Civil Rights came to some conclusions. We were disproportionately suspending and expelling minority students, and we were disproportionately suspending and expelling students with disabilities, special education students. And I saw this firsthand while I oversee the juvenile justice schools in Ventura County. 40% of our population in juvenile hall were special education students, and the majority of students were Black and Latino. So we really saw that disproportionality of minority students being suspended and expelled. Zero tolerance clearly was not working. And one of the ed codes for suspension and expulsion is 48900K, and that's willful defiance. And schools really used willful defiance as a way to increase the number of kids that were being suspended and expelled, because it was a very gray area. Willful defiance could mean a lot of different things. And when administrators were at a loss for how to discipline students, they always checked K, willful defiance, and then they could expel students sometimes, suspend a student, sometimes expel students. So it was very subjective, disrupting an activity. What does that mean? Define authority. What does that mean? And that was being used over and over again. And so we knew that there was changes that needed to be made in California around willful defiance and around zero tolerance policies. And so in 2012, Assembly Bill 1729 passed, and that bill is called the Other Means of Correction. It did a couple of things. The first thing it did is really loosened up zero tolerance so that administrators now have more tools in their toolbox to use. Now if that Boy Scout comes to school with a pocket knife, we don't necessarily have to expel. We can try to dig deeper into what occurred, and it's not automatic anymore. The other piece of it is that when it comes to willful defiance and 48900K, we absolutely have to show that we've tried other ways to correct behavior before we can suspend a child, before we can expel a child. And those things, things that have developed over time that we'll talk about a little bit more, are positive behavior support and interventions, or what we call today tiered multiple systems of support. And those are just layers of things we do before we get to the necessity to expel a person or suspend a person. And also restorative justice practices. That is something that is moving very fast and popular today as an alternative to, and we'll talk about that a little bit. The other piece of legislation that passed in 2015 was AB 420, and AB 420 eliminated any suspension or expulsion of a child in kindergarten through third grade for willful defiance. So that eliminated the use of 48900K. And because of the passage of these two laws, we've seen the number of expulsions dramatically and the number of suspensions dramatically decrease in California. This is a better chart. You can see that right.
Students or thereof that.
This is just a generic pyramid.
Generic pyramid, okay.
I think we have a group called, we renamed it the Health Triangle Group. And that group is a group of counselors and administrators that are working, they're attached to something. And in addition to that, the National Threat Center, Dr. Reddy, also says that the connectedness of children is important. That once goes back to school climate again. The idea that schools need, children need to feel connected to their school. They need to know that there are adults there that care about them, that there's adults there that they can go to and they can talk to. They need to understand that people truly are interested in their well-being and their success. And I think we do. These are two areas that I believe, and I'm new to the district, so I'm seeing it kind of with outside eyes. I think we do an outstanding job. When I go onto campuses on our district, that is one thing I've seen. And I haven't seen that in some other districts that can be an issue. And here we do this really well. Students feel connected, and there's a positiveness about our school climates. The idea of going back to that character education, that idea that we're promoting empathy, dignity, and we're promoting compassion within our students and within our staffs is once again, is huge. So we're really promoting the character of the child. And some of the things we have in place right now and are coming as far as school safety, we have the safety plans that I believe you've received. We also have an emergency management system, which is a larger emergency plan. We have trained our campus supervisors with online security courses this year. We collaborate routinely with the Sheriff's Department to discuss situations both within our schools and in our community. All of our administrators have gone to Safe and Secure Schools training. They did that last month. And we're looking forward to going to our annual safety conference in July, just to make sure that we're up to date on what's going on and what's the latest theories that are out there on school safety. Some of the things that we have in place now that are exciting, we piloted the Raptor at La Rosa Elementary this year. This is a management system where when visitors come into La Rosa, they take their driver's license out and they swipe it into the system. And it then takes that data and compares it to an offenders registry. So we know that people coming in are safe. And I know that in talking to Dr. Francesini, that is going to expand to 4 more campuses next year. I think it's a wonderful program. The other upside of that is that for people that do volunteer work in the schools, it's a really good way to track their time in the schools. So that's another good thing it does. Another thing is an application, an app that they're using, several schools are using, called Remind 101, which is a communication where parents and teachers and students communicate. I know that when we had some power go out at the high school, Remind was used to kind of get the word out to parents and students and staff of what was going on. And the last thing I want to go back to is positive behavior support and positive behavior support, intervention support. You know, we said that this is another area we really need to define what we're doing in a more clear way. And so what we would like, the Health Triangle would like not only to create that pyramid, multiple tier pyramid support, really clear that up, but really define our positive behavior supports intervention. All the things we're doing on our campuses that are supporting other means of correction, that are supporting safe schools. And so that's something we look forward to developing and presenting to you in the future. And lastly, restorative justice is something that you might have read about in the newspaper. A lot of school districts are using it. And simply restorative justice simply is, instead of suspending a child and sending them away and expecting them to come back to school fixed or better or somehow changed, restorative practices are saying that we're going to address the behavior, the incorrect behavior. We're going to bring the victim in. We're going to bring the perpetrator in. We're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to mend those wounds and reintegrate the offender back into the school community. And that's something that we already trained 2 of our counselors to be restorative justice practitioners. And we're in the process of training all of our counselors in the district on restorative practices coming this next month, actually. And so that is the presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
If I can just add one thing, first of all, Paul, thank you. Paul's done a great job coming on board and really helping ensure that we are putting a lot of things in place. And he and I have had a number of discussions about restorative justice and positive behavior intervention support. And basically, it's character education, the strength of character education. And it's a matter now for us, part of our challenge is some of these things we do normally and really teasing those things out and figuring out which areas need to be bolstered. And sometimes it's just simple things like asking the staff to stand at the door and greet the students every morning. Those simple things pay great dividends oftentimes in restorative practices or having students feel that sense of connectedness. So he's been doing a great job of dialoguing and ascertaining where we need and working with our counselors and staff as well, where we need to bolster some of our efforts. So thank you, Paul.
Okay. All right, Member Nolbert.
Just a couple of quick questions. On slide 12, you had the enrollments of the schools.
Yes.
What time frame are we looking at for those enrollments?
Those were 2014.
Yeah, but I mean, is the first week, third week, the end of the school year, the average, or what? Because they're different. I've seen other numbers that are different.
I think I took those from DataQuest, so.
October.
CBA.
Usually those numbers are associated
Yeah.
with Census Day, October 3rd or October 5th, whatever the first Wednesday of that school year is of October.
About, what, 3 weeks into school? And the other one is on page 20, where you have PSIV, PBIS.
So PBI, Positive Behavior Support Intervention?
Yeah. Our glossary didn't have that term in it. I was just wondering, are we going to add to the glossary, are we going to spell it out here? And the third question is, basically, have we updated the board's policy? So all this information is basically capsulized in the board policy?
Yes.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments? Well, Dr. Marietti, on behalf of the board, I would like to thank you and your team for always working really hard. We know that times are different. Clearly, generations and times, and we try to keep up as best as we can. And frankly, I'm happy to see this. I'm happy to see that we're looking at. I shouldn't say discipline, I would just say behavioral correction in a more open manner. I understand that there are circumstances that deem the harshest punishment, but and I think I agree that that's not necessarily information on that.
Mr. Barron's here if you'd like to hear.
Oh, okay. Sir, would you mind just giving us just a really brief overview of this? I appreciate it.
So the new course is the College and Career Seminar course, and we're asking that be approved for both the high school and the Dr. Douglas Senior Swimming Center. What we're really excited about is it's part of the Get Focused, Stay Focused initiative, and there's an evaluation that company is doing for their curriculum. And we've been selected as one of 18 schools statewide and 9 next year to implement, which the benefit for Temple City Unified is about $100,000 worth of curriculum and professional development. And this course will focus on a career and outcome. So they start a 10-year plan beginning their freshman year. So where you're going to be by the time you're 24, 25 years old after college and into the career workforce.
Member Nolbert. Member Pomeroy.
He's my long lost father.
Too much of this.
You pulled out classes.
Okay, it's not coming up here, but from what I remember of your memo, so all freshmen are going to be participating, but is it a semester class that they take?
It is a semester-long class.
How does that fit into their freshman schedule then?
It will fit in, it can back up with the other freshman electives that are also a semester long. So there's currently the business information technology course, there's the health course, and then this would be a third course along with team living. So those are all semester courses that freshmen can take. So it could fit with any one of those.
As an elective?
Correct.
Okay. And now for students that don't choose to take the class as an elective, are there other ways that ninth graders get involved with the program?
Well, at this point, because it is an evaluation, we would need that all ninth graders take the course, and because there'll be data that'll be tracked through their cohort all the way through their senior year.
Oh, I see. Okay, so the students that take the class
Correct.
will be tracked along.
Oh, correct. Moving forward, we'd like to offer it in the summer as another option. Again, that wouldn't happen this year because it's got to get, there's a quick timeline for the professional development and the curriculum between now and fall. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Raj. Member Ridley.
Thank you. I think you sort of answered my question. It states that it's an elective course, but it will be required for all freshmen. So maybe it's required for this testing situation we're in,
Correct.
and then it'll become a true elective.
Well, eventually it may become, we'd like everybody to take the course. And the reason why is we think it's very important to start with a career in mind, career outcome in mind. And so they're not just doing just elective type work. There's Common Core standards for informational text, literature. They'll be reading poems and essays about careers and choices. And there's a lot of research. There's a research paper that's part of this curriculum. And then there's, as you see, there's you'll see the 10th and 11th and 12th grade years. There's modules where they'll check in and make sure that they're still staying on track. Is this still what you want to do? Is this still what you have an interest in? Is this still where your aptitude lies?
No, I very much like what it sounds like. It sounds like it's something that's going to help our students a lot, and maybe wish we had it sooner. But no, I applaud you for bringing this to us.
Thank you very much. Member Nolbert.
Yes. The 100K is for the teacher and for the books?
That's correct.
Material?
For the professional development of the teachers. So the training and the materials.
And then the teacher has to meet the requirements of PCC?
To get it dual enrolled, yes.
Okay.
But it doesn't have to absolutely be dual enrolled. So we could run it, if the teacher doesn't meet the requirements, we can still run it as our elective course. We're going to, once you approve it, we're going to move towards UC approval. Okay, so it doesn't absolutely have to be dual enrolled.
And this is 50-50 both for college and for career? So that somebody doesn't...
The focus is on the career aspect of it, and then building the pathway to get you to whatever that is. So it could be a 4-year institution, it could be a 2-year institution, it could be a trade school, it could be just an internship, whatever that career path leads you to.
All right, well, thank you very much. Okay, well, we certainly look forward to hearing more about this. And again, I think, I certainly agree with my fellow board members. This is a step in the right direction. I think this is incredibly empowering for our students as well. And to start them off at the freshman level, and as I understand it, there is post-secondary support as well, where we can sort of see where they're at 7 years down the road after they've graduated. So this is good stuff. So thank you for your hard work, and keep us updated. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Do we have a vote?
Yes, we do. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. I'll make the motion to approve the new course for Temple. Oh, we already had a motion. Sorry. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next, can I get a motion to approve the 2015-2018 Master Plan for English Learners?
So moved. Second.
All right. Moved by Member Ridley, second by Member Nolan. Okay. Ms. Newman, all right. Thank you.
So since the plan has already been approved, makes my job real easy. So this evening, I'm presenting our Master Plan for English Learners of Temple City Unified School District. This is a 3-year plan with annual updates. So I will be speaking to some of the changes that have been made, some of the The purpose of the plan, the English Learner Master Plan, is to provide an overview of our district program, K-12 program, what it entails, and also this plan serves as an action guide for instruction, for reclassification. It's multi-purpose. This plan was created with the input of quite a few stakeholders. I don't sit down and write this by myself. The PAC, DAC, DLAC committees are all involved. The Parent Advisory Committee, the District Advisory Committee, and then our District English Language Advisory Committee are involved in looking at the pieces that we had to update. We have ELD, English Language Development Site Coordinators at each site. These are folks who work with our English language learners in small groups, sometimes even one-on-one, depending on the need. Our support staff, our information specialists help to mine through data and really look at who our kids are and how they are moving through our ELD program, because the end goal is for them to be reclassified. We'll talk about what that means as well. I worked on this, and then Dr. Kate Franciscini was really fundamental in getting this updated. And additionally, all of our site administrators gave input and were good references for me to go to and ask about what in fact is happening at each of their sites as we updated this plan. So what is an English learner? Who is this student? This is a student whose primary or home language, so their first language, or sometimes kids are growing up with two languages. So even if they have English and an additional language, this can classify them as an English learner. So its primary or home language is a language other than English, and whose English skills are not equal to that of a native English speaker. And how do we figure that out? How do we make that determination? Each student takes the California English Language Development Test and receives a score. So we'll be looking at those levels as well. So if the student is not advanced or early advanced on that, we consider them an English learner. When a student walks in the door to register at school, there are 4 questions asked on the registration about their language spoken. Their first language produced, their home language, the language the parent speaks to the child, so that we can figure out, is there a need to administer the California English Language Development Test or not? If a parent marks any of a yes, we speak another language at home, we speak Vietnamese, we speak Spanish, we then give that test to find out where they're at in their English skills. There are many cases where the parents check that a student speaks Mandarin and English at home, we give the test, and the student is proficient from the get-go. That doesn't happen. They're not all automatically English learners. Just a snapshot, I thought what would be most interesting for all of you to see. On the left-hand side, we have 5,893 students in Temple City Unified. This data was taken from the October CalPADS entry date. Again, our informational specialist helped me pull this. Currently, 1,275 students are limited English proficient, English learner. That's 22% of our population. And I was curious as to what does this number mean? Is this growing? What has this looked like over the past 3 years? And it's been pretty consistent. We've had for the past 3 years about 22% of our population English language learner, which means that kids are progressing through our English language development program and getting reclassified or exiting the program. So if we're at 20, and because every year we're getting new students, this number is staying the same and that number is not growing, we're doing a good job of helping our students acquire English. what was very interesting for me, I wanted to know, okay, what happened this year? Who came in the door this year? Because I kept hearing, man, Natasha, a lot of our kids are English learners. Are we getting more? Are we getting more? Every kid who's registering, so let's look. Total new registrants, there were 839 new students registered as of October. 40% of those were English language learners. So that's significant in my mind that almost half of the kids walking in the door are English language learners. We have 32 recorded languages spoken in our homes. Fascinating. Mandarin is the #1 language other than English, followed by Cantonese, Spanish, Vietnamese. People say, well, gosh, what else? I mean, you name it. Burmese, Laotian, Eastern European, I mean, you name it. Fascinating. It's a diverse group. So, one thing that the program, that the EL plan outlines is how do we help our students acquire English? How is this done? So if you think of a freeway, you've got a freeway, kids need to listen, speak, read, and write to be successful in school at grade level. What our job is to take a student with no English and get them up to that freeway speed. We've got to provide an on-ramp and access to be able to succeed in their classrooms. So ELD 1, you've heard that throughout the evening. Teresa spoke about her ELD 1 students who spoke, and she has ELD 3 students mentoring ELD 1 students. So ELD 1 are our beginners and early intermediate. These levels come from the CELT test. So on the test, you can score beginner, early intermediate, intermediate, early advanced, advanced. So we break down the beginner, early, intermediate into ELD 1. ELD 2 is usually a mix of intermediate and early and advanced. And keeping in mind, at the top on the freeway, we have listening, speaking, reading, writing. Students get a score in each of those categories. So their total score is a combination. And then ELD 3 are our advanced students. So at the high school, ELD 3 students who have been here probably 2 to 3 years are mentoring the brand newcomers ELD 1. Again, our goal is to close that language gap, to have students up to speed, grade level, proficient in their classrooms. We are in a flux transition. The CELT will be changing in the next 2 years, so it's going to be updated annually to keep abreast of all of these changes. We will no longer have 5 levels. We will be going to 3 levels, so this is currently in place, but our test does not match from the state. Anyway, I'm giving you way too much information. We have these 3 levels, emerging, expanding, and bridging. So it is easier, I think. We have a beginner, intermediate, and advanced. 3 is simpler for the mind than 5. So those are some brief definitions of the 3 new English proficiency levels. The EL Master Plan is made up of these components. That's a snapshot of what you found in that 61-page document. These are what our programs look like in our schools right now. In the elementary school, students who are beginner and intermediate students are getting small group instruction. The classroom teacher is still the #1 most important teacher of record, tracking students about their progress, but we also have paraprofessionals working in small groups with our English language learners to give them that extra boost and dose of English. Summer school is offered for elementary students. We select those students by, again, serving first the beginners and intermediate students. Those are the ones who need the most boost to hit that freeway running. Oak Avenue, we have ELD 1 students for clustered together for English, Science, and Social Studies. ELD 2 as well. ELD 3 students are what we call mainstream. They're with English only students the majority of the day. Students how do we get them in those groups? It's based on their SELT scores, that California English Language Development Test. Students at Oak also attend summer school. They're offered summer school. And Temple City High, very similar. They have a 2-hour English block. They are also offered RAMs, which is an extra study period during the high school day, and also summer school. How are we keeping teachers and paraprofessionals abreast of what's going on? We have staff development days throughout the year. This summer is hopefully as well. We've had groups like UCLA Writing come in and address English language learner strategies teachers can use. Thinking maps is a strategy that we have looked at this year as well. We've kind of revisited it. It's not new to the district. During staff meetings, team meetings, grade level meetings, principals do a great job of getting teachers to really know who their English language learners are in the classroom. Paul and Teresa mentioned, really that is the most important piece, is to make that connection. Teachers to know their students, students know their teachers are looking out for them. So during team meetings, staff meeting times, we look at how they're doing. Is this student turning in their homework? Are they feeling connected or not, and what can we do about it? Having been at Longman and Oak, we do that, I can say. ELD coordinator meetings, we all meet together quarterly to talk about how students are doing, materials being used. So it is a regular discussion. So here are the proposed changes. They're in the reclassification. So once a student is scoring early advanced, advanced on that self-test, their writing skills are up to par, we look at reclassification. How can we officially exit them from this English learner status? We used to look at CST scores. We still are because we don't have new data, but we will be now looking at SBAC data. And we will be looking at levels band range 4 and 5. Those are the proficient levels instead of the CST. So that will be going away. Students also take the STAR 360 test. It's a reading comprehension test. I think you've heard of accelerated reader. Students read a book, take a test. This is similar. It's on the computer. They have a reading comprehension test. So students are now scoring in the 45th percentile. That's another tick the box that they're gaining English skills. No more Casey. We still get the Casey. That's gone. So we removed that from the plan as well. That was fast.
That was fast. No,
Wow.
thank you. That was really important.
I could talk a lot more about this.
Can I ask you some questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here we
All
go.
right. Anyone? Yes, Mr. Palmer. All right. Any questions? Okay, Member Redland.
Not so much a question, just to thank you for a very clear presentation.
Oh, my pleasure.
And especially, I'm impressed with the great deal of detail that's actually in the plan. It appears to be very comprehensive and very high quality.
Thank you. It's a team effort.
Member Nolan.
On the stakeholders, what about, you didn't have a slide there, but,
3, do I think
huh?
Slide 3.
All I want to do is just indicate that most of these committees and that are staffed with parents who wish to be involved. And that we welcome their input and that they contribute very much to the direction we go on that. And then I have some general questions on the master plan, I guess.
Yes.
There was a page 8, parents notification.
Yes.
When is that supposed to be? Is there a time frame, a minimum time frame?
Great question. So parents are notified frequently when they take their self-test, when students take their self-test. We actually, our EL coordinators are trained to what we call hand score them. We can't wait to send tests off to the state and wait months for a kid to get placed in class. So parents will, that's the first notification they receive, is your child has been tested with the cell. They have a preliminary score of, and we fill that out. So right away they're getting notified. Then when the official scores come back from the state, they get another notification. These are your official scores. Parents receive regular updates from the school, and then in form of report cards, conferences, and then official notification when we are moving to reclassify them. We actually need parents to come in and sign and recognize that their child is being reclassified. Some schools have a words assembly at the elementaries, so it is, it's a big deal. And we send out notifications in Chinese, Spanish, as well as English.
Okay, then the other one of the other ones, is we put the data into the heritage system.
Yes.
But what happens after we miss the March deadline?
March deadline.
Well, there's a...
Oh, for reclassification.
Yeah.
So we reclassify annually. So as
So it's just one shot. So they either make it by a certain date or they carry over to the
Yes.
next year before they're recertified?
reclassified,
We're
yes.
reclassified.
Yes. And I will tell you that we're already in that process for this year. We started discussing it in January. We started looking at a self-score. We look at self-score, starting in, when we get them in August. But in January, we started looking at grades. We give this, the STAR 360 test about 3 times a year. So there are kind of these check-in points that we're looking at to gear up for that March reclassification
And
time.
then there, on page 20, there's a, I don't know how you read the paragraph, but it's kind of like, if we don't get federal funds, we still have to do it.
We still have to do it, yes.
So
Yes.
this could come out of the general fund if the federal government decides to cut back on funds.
I don't think they will cut back on it, but we have Office of Civil Rights issues that we need to do this regardless of how much or how little is coming in.
And it's important to remember too, we are in California, which is probably the, other than Texas, the state that emphasizes most students that speak a language other than English. So regardless of funding, the requirement will be there. And I just want to, I know Mr. Ridley indicated, Natasha, thank you for, as you can see, and I think you see through the presentations this evening, there's a lot in our business to keep track of. And I say our business because it's your business as well. And it's interesting too, and I think it's germane oftentimes to California, things are constantly changing, and that makes it extremely challenging to communicate to our families, for our teaching teams to keep up, including, and I include the support staff in that, to ensure that not only are we doing what we're supposed to for our kids, but we're supporting them and still keeping track of all the different aspects that are required now of the educational system in California. So, and I appreciate the level, and I've had a lot of involvement with ELD, and I want to compliment too the coordinators and the support staff that work with our kids. They're constantly in communication with the classroom teacher and have, it's almost like a stopgap. That second person really working tightly and closely with that student to ensure that they are getting maximum. And I think we saw the results of the good work that's going on with the high school students that spoke tonight.
Member Olber.
Is there any initiatives where the parents are involved? See, if the child has got an English learning problem, the parent probably has an English learning problem.
Excellent point. So each school has an ELAC, an English Language Advisory Committee. So at the beginning of the year, parents send out invitations, multiple languages, and we actually do a really diligent job of targeting which kids, that we make sure we get all of our English language learners, because some students are advanced and you may not even realize because they are so advanced. So bringing parents in, that's one way. We have a community liaison now, Amber Wong, who the sites now communicate directly with Amber to make phone calls. Often teachers want a particular parent to come because the child's not engaged, so we always then go to the parent to bring the parent in. So yes, big efforts to help parents adapt as well. I've had meetings with parents to go over things we take for granted as, you know, we just think it's part of the system, but a parent may not know. You need to sign a homework folder. You need to check homework. You need all of these little details that are unique to our education system. We definitely have meetings to bring parents in. And Amber's been a huge help in getting that word out. Did that answer your question?
I guess specifically, do we actually teach a parent how to speak English?
We currently don't have any parent English classes, but that has been discussed to have in the future. Kind of an adult ed parent language.
And Chris feels very strongly about that as well. It's just one of the number of things, initiatives that we're working on across the district to offer to our families.
Member Palmer?
Thank you. Just following up briefly, Mr. Nolenberg, on what you were referencing. So the funding requirement, as I understand it, is that there are, you know, we have requirements, not a funding requirement. We have a requirement that we provide a certain level of service, but somewhat like special education, for example, where the feds require that we provide a certain level of service, but then, you know, the amount of money that comes to us is not tied to how much service we actually have to provide. So to me, and I appreciate you bringing up the point, Mr. Nolenberg, you know, it's one of a whole series of things that we are required to provide without separate money coming for it. I wanted to thank you, Ms. Newman, but I want to thank Superintendent Perini for, you know, bringing you into the district team, having you here. It's a great benefit to our district to have somebody with your experience at elementary and also at the middle school. And, you know, I've always thought that, you know, especially the CST, it was really hard to have an accurate reflection of students when English learning is part of what they're still doing. And with the new test, whatever we're calling it, SBAC, CASP, I don't know, whatever, it'll be interesting, CASP, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that effect is and seeing just how many English learners we have. And I knew it was a lot. I guess I didn't quite expect it would be. Now I realize the number you gave us here, the 22% is for the whole spectrum, but still, you know, well, number one, it tells me that to achieve what we've achieved up to now, we've had a lot of good teaching, those students.
And laser focus.
Yeah. And obviously, we very much appreciate that. But then I was going to just follow up, and I don't want to take too much time on a detour, but given your particular experience at Oak Avenue, with the description of the ELD students and how they're in separate classes or for science and social science and English. So could you just walk us through a little bit with that? Are they in their own section? Are they?
So even though you've got a class of 34, that teacher knows exactly their English level.
Yeah. Okay. And so the ELD ones, I mean, when you say they're in a science class teaching English and science, is it a science teacher? Is it an ELD teacher? Or is it
It's
both?
a multiple subject teacher.
Yeah.
So it's a teacher who's credentialed to teach all of those subjects.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's just I mean, learning all these details is fascinating to me. But as you said, they're on teams, so they're still, you know, a Voyager or an Explorer or whatever. So they're still going on field trips and participating in that. And then as they move up and as they become ELD3s, then they're in the classes with the rest of their team.
Good question.
I love that school. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I just would say in general for myself, you know, I appreciate hearing numbers and details and information about how our English learning students are doing. So I know as we get more information through the CASP and other things, I look forward to hearing more about our students' progress. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Member Morse?
Just so you know, I definitely sleep better at night, knowing that people like you and our administration are on top of this, because you're such experts at it. But just to give a sense of how big the scope actually is, you're talking that we have 32 languages in this district, okay? So in these ELD classes, you're talking about a teacher who has to speak one of 31 languages besides English, right?
The teacher in the classes speaks English.
I know, but the student might be Burmese, or
Right.
she has to, or they have to somehow identify with that other language, right?
Well, as an ELD1 teacher who doesn't speak Mandarin, who speaks Spanish, and I had majority Mandarin, there are lots of techniques to help that student understand what's being taught. So I don't speak 32 languages. I would venture to say none of our teachers speak 32
I wouldn't
languages.
suggest that someone speaks 32, I would suggest you have to have a lot of staff.
See, right,
to
and
cover all the
so I
languages.
call on, so if I needed, I would call on an interpreter that's been hired and approved by the district. And to be quite honest, to communicate with parents, I used Google Translate. I could email a parent, and I explained all this to the parents at the very beginning, so this goes back to Mr. Nolenberg and how do we bring parents in. I would receive emails from parents in Chinese, Google Translate, so we could still communicate even though I don't have any Mandarin and the parents don't have English. So there are, thank goodness for the day that we're living in now, there are ways to communicate.
So we have a district coordinator, I think you called it.
Amber
Ms.
Wang,
Wong.
yes.
Who?
Amber Wang,
Wong.
W-A-N-G Wang.
Mrs. Wong. And she's Mandarin speaking?
Yes.
So who do we have that communicates with the other? Like, do we have any type of coordination with the other language speaking?
Yes, we have actually a list of different language interpreters who we can call upon.
Are they at the same level as Ms. Wong?
They're not, they're called upon for more of an hourly individual, like a meeting need. Amber is part-time, she's a part-time employee of the district.
As you're talking, these just kind of pumpkins, so I
Yeah,
apologize
great
for
questions.
surprising you with the question.
You're not surprising me, we got it.
All right, thank you very much, Marcin. Okay. And yes, absolutely, I looked at this, and I'm not even going to pretend that I understand this matrix because I don't. But I know that.
I can explain it.
But you know what, I trust you, and I think all of us, we do, and we're very appreciative again with this extreme amount of work. And I think as we look forward towards the future, this is going to become an even more vital part of what we do here as a district, without question. So, thank you. And
I'm serious, if you'd like me later, and I can explain that matrix too.
all right, okay, I think we're, oh, I don't know if I'll pass that, but, okay, let's get ready to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, I'll make a motion to approve the 2017-2018 instructional calendar.
Second.
Second by member Nolenberg. Any questions or discussions regarding this?
Question?
Yes, member Palmer.
No school the week of Thanksgiving, correct?
There's no school for students the week of Thanksgiving. There is a staff development day for teachers on the Monday of the Thanksgiving week, but we're going to offer the same alternative that we offered this year for some summer staff development in lieu of for staff.
And so essentially it's consistent with the calendar we have.
It is very consistent with the calendar and the dates for Christmas or winter break are very consistent with the 2016-2017 calendar.
Okay, excellent, member Nolenberg.
Just a general one. Do we take the ADA per day and look at different cultures, holidays, and see if there's any certain days?
We do look at it.
Like I'm thinking especially like February or January 8th, I think it was, February 8th. That was the Lunar New Year, I think. That's a Monday.
We have looked at it.
Attendance or not?
I could not tell you what our attendance was on that day. We could look into that for you.
But for the but what we did do before we even moved a year ago to this type of calendar is Art and I sat down and looked at that very thing. Where are we tending to see the patterns? Because we did talk about Lunar New Year and were we having students miss school? And we found there was not a significant difference in attendance because families celebrated at different times, much like, yes, Christmas is off, but yet some families celebrate at a different time. So we didn't notice anything significant because that was one thing we did talk about. The opportunity to do is have that as a day off if we could tie it to something else and it wasn't like a Wednesday, that type of thing. So we did look at those items in sensitivity to our population.
And it really was significant when it coincided with the weekend. So Mondays and Fridays would be days that we would see a significant rise in absenteeism, but days during the week, it really, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we really didn't notice.
So the question arises because of, there's one university that when Yom Kippur comes, they basically close down because there's so many Jewish students in the school system. It's not worth opening up the school for that day.
I was lobbying for Super Bowl Monday.
I would point out, Mr. President. No, absolutely, if I may. I would put the staff development day in March that tends to fall, as I recall, on the Monday right after the high school musical, which I think is convenient. Yeah, exactly.
We're in progress with that.
Potential FEMA reimbursement that is threshold. And then I'm curious, in terms of any drills at the school sites, have we had drills this school year?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually was out at the high school and they were doing the fire drill. And very orderly, all moved out to the field, roll was taken, and all the kids. They're smart. We do it so that they release them back at lunch. So they all go out, they take roll, and then they release them to lunch, makes it a little bit easier, but yeah. And they're routinely doing drills.
In addition, we've been reviewing all the emergency supplies at each of the sites, and we replaced all of the water and all the food at this point. Now we're doing an inventory of all the other supplies. We're a little inconsistent between sites of what is there, so we're going based on a couple of different places' suggestions, and that should be completed in the next 6 weeks or so.
All right, thank you very much. Member Morrison.
So that was one of my questions here. How often are the emergency supplies turned over? That water should be replaced every year type thing from what we get, earthquake preparedness at home. If that was done at the school too.
So quite candidly, it had been a while since it had been looked at. And the water and food had expired. So that's all up to date now, and we've got 5 to 7 years for those.
So does each site have enough food and water for the students for how long?
We have 3 to 5 days for all students and staff, and I'm a little bit on the conservative side, so we round it up. So we have a little bit more than we did really require.
Hopefully this is the place for this conversation. What kind of sanitary procedures do we have?
I'd be glad to bring that back to you.
Okay.
We do have that as well. Kathy might know it a little.
I'll just reassure you that I felt really strongly about that. So we actually, and I believe Mr. Ridley was part of that at one time as one of our parents, we developed a very comprehensive list of needs. I also shared with Marianne that at a USC tailgate, I saw these great pop-up portable restrooms. And so we then provided those to the school sites as well for sanitation purposes. And then we're continuing to work to ensure that the classrooms, as well as students were to end up in a lockdown situation or something like that, that we've provided adequate supplies for the classroom as well. But Mary Ann's done a great job of really starting to ensure that we have consistency across all sites.
I never doubted that. What about our wireless, our communications between the sites, site to site, and district office to site? You know, if there's going to be a wide disaster area like an earthquake, how are the sites going to communicate with each other?
So we have a couple of things. We have walkie-talkies that we use now between all the sites and maintenance operations as well. And then Andy Harper will be coming back to you with his technology update regarding also wireless. And it's a couple board meetings.
Okay. So is that using the district's FCC license? We have a business industrial license for FCC communications. Is that utilizing those 3 frequencies?
Yes.
The address of record is a corner over here on Longden and Burton Avenue. It's like a empty lot. Is there a particular reason why we're addressed there and not here in district office? Do you know?
Sorry, the address from what is it?
We have a FCC license, and the address of record of that license is a lot on Longden Avenue, the corner of Longden Avenue and Burton. But they're about to wash.
Let me check that for you.
I don't know if that's an antenna there or what the deal is there. We have a fixed license, and we have 2 mobile underneath. And the fixed portion of it is some sort of structure there at that wash. And we have licenses for frequencies, 30 handhelds or something like that.
I'll check that for you.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. Right? So do we ever work in connection with the city in practicing some sort of response? Because apparently they have to be in charge. And then we let them use our facilities, any emergency personnel use our facilities. Have we ever practiced that? I know we did the active shooter before, but this is something that, where we live, this is a real situation. You would think there would be coordinator practice in these routes.
And we've been in conversations with them. Part of what they've offered is we have some of our students are now trained. They participate in the youth training as well through the city. And both Mary Ann and I have talked to Brian Cook as well about our interest in having some type of joint arrangement. But I don't recall in my time here that we've ever actually done anything jointly with them. We've had the sheriff's department respond to our sites and ascertain if we were doing an adequate job of ensuring safety and all the provisions, but there's, to my knowledge, never been any actual involvement with the city.
Hopefully we can bring that up, because it would be nice to work out the kinks, over donuts and coffee sometimes, instead of, real life's on the line. And are you talking about like search training that the kids, I think the kids, some of these went through search trainings a few weeks ago.
38.
Yeah. Search training.
Yeah. I think, is Mr. Westcott, are you search certified?
Yeah.
Okay. I went through search training a year ago, 2 years ago. It's a phenomenal course. I think Mr. Ridley went through it. I would highly suggest that everyone do it. I know I was in a class with Mayor Chavez. So, even some of the city folks are doing it too. And it's a very comprehensive course, and they take you through a lot of emergency response procedures that you would actually be able to work with, all sorts of county agencies. So I highly recommend it for everybody.
Which center?
Well, this was the whole weekend for me. Starting Friday, going all the way Friday night, Saturday, all day Saturday, and most of the day Sunday. So.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. Okay, any other comments or questions? All right, okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay, fine. Well, thank you very much for that information. Okay, can I get a motion to receive for second reading and approve revised board policies?
So
Moved by Member Holberg. Second by Member Ridley. Okay. So this basically is exactly the same as the first reading that we saw. I don't believe that anything's changed. It's the same.
There's one exception on board policy 6170, which is titled transitional kindergarten.
No.
And that change dealt with the time frame of transitional kindergarten. We have an option by CSBA to amend the language based on our current practices, and we want to keep our current practices in place, but TK, transitional kindergarten, is the same length as kindergarten at that site.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? Aye. 5-0. Okay. All right, now let's go on to our consent agenda. Routine items approved by one motion and one vote unless a member of the board or audience requests that any item be reviewed and voted upon separately. Okay. All right, then, someone like there's any questions or comments? Okay. I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second by member Marston. And I believe this is roll call.
Can I make I'm sorry, Mr. President, before we vote, can I comment?
Sure.
Okay. You know, I was going to object and move to delete portion of number 31.
Oh.
Ms. Burkhart reminded me tonight that when I was board president, I made her promise that she would be in her current position all the way through when I was board president. What you didn't realize was you promised to do it the next time I'm board president too. So there might be an interim period here that we can handle this without you maybe. I just wanted to say to Lynn that you know, so many things change on the face of the district. People change, people's faces change, and then we have this rock that's in the corner of our table and is in the corner upstairs. I won't say how long she told me today she's been in this position because it makes me depressed as to whether we can really make it without her. But, you know, the reason, Lynn, why it was so important to me that you be there for me, this is all about me, was how, you know, communication is so vital, and when you're dealing with communication and people and being a people person, you know, everybody has an off day. Everybody has a day where, you know, I'm not quite feeling it today. I don't get back to people quite as quickly. I don't deal with people quite as professionally because I'm just not feeling it today. And Lynn Burkhart never has an off day. That is true. So I was really sad to see your name on the list. I you know, hope great things, obviously, for your future. I could go on for a while, but I promise you I'd try to embarrass you a little bit. Certainly thank you for your great service to the district. I guess I'm going to have to approve that order with your name on it. I'm glad we have you for another few months. Thank you.
If you decide not to approve, I'm okay with that too.
So,
What happens?
should we try it?
Thank you so much. Good try. Thank you, John, for helping.
Okay, so we're ready. Roll call.
Roll call. Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. Marston?
Yes.
Mr. Pomeroy?
Yes.
Mr. Ritter?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so now, do we have any board comments or requests for information or agenda items?
I have one.
Okay.
I would like, before we, well, I guess before we budget for next year, I'd like to hear about the participation rates for our various sports teams and discuss, you know, how many teams we should have for certain sports at the high school.
Okay. Okay, that's noted. Okay, Member Marston.
I'd like to see an agenda item where we could discuss facilities use of district properties, particularly the district's current fee structure, facilities use, for facilities use, also who uses our facilities, how often our facilities are used, and what revenue is generated as a result of the agreements we have with these different groups.
All right, okay. Anything else? No? That's it? Okay. All right, I don't think there's anything in item 33. Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9 p.m. Second by member Nolenberg. This time I won't forget. All in favor? Aye. Okay. 5-0. All right, thank you very much.